All right, so we're going to go ahead and look at the second part of this, the optional base case forecasting. So this is optional in the sense that you don't have to forecast what you're going to be doing in Curve Builder. You do have to have a forecast. That part is not optional. But what you use is a little bit optional. You can actually load a forecast in. We'll go through that scenario. And that may be an instance where maybe your manager or you think, that I want to use this forecast that I made in, I don't know, OFM, or maybe you made it in Harmony or somewhere else. Or you can build one in here. It's entirely up to you. So the tool is capable on both fronts. Let me get rid of my ink. We'll go back over here to Curve Builder. Now, when you first jump into the tool, you first hop over from from condition OFM, you jump over to base case. It's really a good idea to populate or reset these boxes. You may not have any font in here when you first open the tool, and that's okay. Just reset them and then click on what you want to look at. So in this instance, we want to look at a tertiary new flood. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what this did is it just brought over the secondary data. So this is just secondary production water flood. You can see the color coding is meaningful in this instance. Not all of Curve Builder is color coded, but this portion is color coded. Blue stands for water. This data is the same as this data that has been brought over. And so you actually get to interact with this. You can change by clicking in these combo boxes, what's get brought over. So it automates that part for you. Now we're going to do a regression on this so that we can forecast. So I went ahead and clicked on regression ARPs. Now for some reason there's actually a button that's supposed to be showing up here. This error is actually here on purpose because I want to kind of teach the users how to debug in the event that something goes wrong. Because as robust as this is programmed, you might have to do a quick button refresh. There's the button. Button came back. So in that instance, just click refresh option selections. That's why that button is there. You'll get your button back. Now this forecast is controlled with this button, and all it's doing is it's taking the last 12 months of the secondary production data, which we brought over by clicking on this combo box. It's just taking the last 12 months of that data, converting it into semi-log, doing a linear regression, giving you the slope, the monthly decline rate. And you can view it. You can use this slider bar to kind of, see, like, is this looking reasonable? Let's go ahead and give it some more months. I don't know what is good, but let's give it 9 years. See if the decline rate changes. So it's a little steeper. So just using the most recent 12 months, maybe that is the most accurate data. Maybe not. It's hard to tell. Another thing to bear in mind is floods become inefficient. Would it really have lasted that long? There's a bit of an art to forecasting the base case, and it doesn't matter what tool you're going to use. You're going to run into the exact same problems. It's going to be very difficult to forecast the base case that you're subtracting from, which is actually, in historical floods, you'll see in a minute, it's not the worst thing in the world because you're going to be mostly looking at incremental production above a do-nothing case. But moving on, let's say we liked that. Let's say that's good enough. But now let's look at some historical data. So I'm going to bring over our historical tertiary. And the colors are separated. So now this is the historical tertiary set. This is the historical secondary set. And so now we're actually getting a dimensionless curve too. And so this goes back to this idea of we're subtracting one thing from another. So that is the incremental production that we were seeing when we started injecting CO2. You can see there's a little production right in there. So maybe this Maybe that's a little more reasonable. You may end up really just kind of tuning these. You know, it's flexible. It's almost up a little bit. A decision has to be made within your team, with your manager. Uh, how much do we think we've recovered to date? And then we'll use that going forward. For example, uh, maybe you think you've recovered 9%. Maybe you think you've recovered 10%. There's a little bit of an art to forecasting these. Oh yeah, that's way too low. It is possible to break this tool. I'm going to go ahead and converge with this one. We thought that when we did this, when we analyzed this set the first time, we thought that that was a pretty about 6% was kind of our target. And so you can see what I was doing. I have it on user specified ARPs. I'm just changing the forecast. There are more features to this. You can, if you just want to see what it looks like, you can flip on Cartesian scale, flip back to large scale. You don't have to look at the data set zoomed in like that. You can actually zoom out. Here's the dimensionless chart down here. There's a few hot buttons over here. You can set the maximum injected. You can set it to automatic. There are some other buttons, but I'm going to go ahead and stop here because it looks like our video has been running for a while. And so we're going to pick up in the next video of how to load a secondary case.